Hey friends, you know those movies where someone has a big idea and they have become rich? I fell for that too. So I have started my startup without knowledge, without experience, and definitely without understanding of market. Long story short, it didn't work. But the lessons I learned from that startup was very priceless. So, here is the truth. Nobody will tell you about building a startup. To give you full picture, let me take you back. I was never topper in my college. My grades were average at best. I always found active outside the classroom. I love organizing event, planning college trips and managing college fest. Basically, anything that involved creating something or bringing people together, that's where I found my energy. People used to say me, you have a lot of energy. You should be doing something big. Maybe they were just nice to me, but I took it very seriously. I believed them. Somewhere down the line, I convinced myself that the only way to doing something big was to build a startup. Not because I love making businesses, but that's how you become rich. Let's be real. We all had that phase where we watch few movies like The Social Network or The Jobs, and you are become a daydreaming about making it big before age of 25. Back in 2016, I decided to start something my own. At that time, embedded was a big buzz. People were talking about IoT, embedded, smart tech, etc. I didn't have any real interest in that space, and honestly, I don't understand most of it. But I jumped in anyway, just because it seems the fastest way to make money. And that's a big mistake. Let me tell you about my startup. We built a prototype of our home automation system, and it works perfectly in a control environment. But in real world, it's kept failing. Sensors stopped working, connectivity dropped, and reliability was terrible. On top of the technical issue, we had a major gap in branding and marketing. And that was my responsibility. I can explain product perfectly, but I had no clue how to sell that product or how to make people care about it. And let me tell you, if you are going door to door and trying to sell an electronic product that barely works, reality hits hard. People looked at me just like a random salesman. And honestly, I was. I was trying to sell a product I barely believe in to a people who didn't need it in a way that didn't work. That startup didn't just fail. It taught me. After it shut down, I took a pause. I sat on one evening, took a notebook, and writing down every reason it failed. Some were obvious, some were painful, but every reason pointed to one core specific lesson which I want to share with you. And first lesson is don't chase trends. Find what you care about. I started automation just because it was trending, not because I really cared about it. And that's a risky way to start anything. If you are starting or creating something which you won't believe, then burnout is just around the corner. There is a quote I really like from Paul Graham, a well-known startup mentor. He said, "The best startup idea usually comes from something you really want, something you can build for yourself, and something most people haven't noticed yet." That's really clicked for me. Passion is great, but the real long-term interest is what keeps you going when things get tough. The second lesson I learned is discipline beats planning. We wasted a lot of time in just planning, endless calls, meeting, sales strategies, and marketing ideas, but not actual much progress. Looking back, all those talk didn't help much. What really makes a difference is actual work. Set routine, build habits, and show up every day, even things aren't perfect for you. I remember once we spent the entire week to create a perfect sales pitch deck, but we never went to real customers. And that's hit me hard. Planning is good, but if you are not taking action, it's just another form of procrastination. Real progress happens when you talk to people, get feedback, and improves as you go. The third lesson I learned is do one task at a time. A lot of people may think multitasking is a part of entrepreneurship, and most of the people will not agree with me. But I truly believe that focusing on a single task is far more effective. You can't give your full attention to multiple things at once. and I learned that hard way. In early days, I tried to do everything by myself, like product work, marketing, customer handling, everything. I thought I can manage it all. But the reality is, when you stretch yourself too thin, quality drops and you burn out fast. You don't have to do every single task by yourself. You just need to understand how it works. It's okay to ask help or delegate. Even if the things aren't going perfect, it's okay to move on rather than working on one thing endlessly. Mistakes are part of the progress. Just make them fast, learn quickly, and move on. That's how you grow. Fourth and important lesson is do what actually matters. It's easy to look professional, like you can create your logos, branding materials, visiting cards, and multiple things. But none of them actually matter when your product didn't solve real issues. In this part of my journey, I learned the hard way why focusing on truly matters is the only way to build something that lasts. I remember we got caught up creating all kinds of marketing materials like printed ID card, visiting cards, branding materials, letterheads, and everything related to marketing. I was obsessed with making everything looks perfect from the day one, and I realized none of that matter from the beginning. Instead spending time on that branding material, I should have spent time with the customer and understand what actual problem they are facing with our product. If I had done that, we could have focused on what actually matters. But I got distracted by the appearance of a business, not the reality of building one. And that shift of focus could cost us more than I expected. So eventually I contributed to the shutdown of my startup. Fifth and most important point is invest in skills, not in an image. There was a time I could have spent a lot of money on perfect clothes, perfect smartphone, and perfect appearance. I thought that if I looked the part, people could take me seriously. But none of that thing helped me to build a startup. In my case, that image building was just a distraction. I could have invested in a skills. The skills, those actually solved the real problems we were facing. After my startup failed, I finally started learning what I should have focused on from the beginning. Things like digital marketing, content writing, creating online ads, and building a community. Those are the skills that get me help back on my feet, and they are helping me today. The reality is skills are your real asset. Degree is important, no doubt. But in today's fast moving world, especially with AI and smart technology evolving, degree can be outdated quickly. What keeps you relevant is your ability to adapt and keep learning. Figure out which skills you required in your field and put your time and energy there. That's what really moves the needle. Looking back, I don't regret to start that company. What I do regret is not being clear with myself why I do that. I chased an idea for a wrong reason, but I'm still thankful for everything it taught me. If you are failed or you are scared because you might fail, listen carefully. Failure isn't the end. It's a part of journey. Sometimes it's the chapter that teaches you most. Thanks for being here and listening to my story. If anything I shared resonate with you, please comment below. I'd love to hear your experience too, because your story might get help someone keep going. Thank you.